They watched the vessel tilt slightly, as if something stepped inside. The crew of the human exploration ship Odyssey floated silently in their observation bay, their eyes fixed on the massive, uncharted object drifting near the asteroid field. The vessel was enormous, its metallic surface smooth, but marked with faint, glowing patterns that shifted when caught in the dim light. The tilt was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet everyone on board sensed it was deliberate, alive in a way they had never seen in any natural or artificial structure. Commander Alina Shaw stood at the front, arms crossed, her sharp eyes scanning the vessel. Her voice was calm but firm as she addressed her team. Sensors indicate slight internal movement, but nothing matches any known life form. We don't know if it's inhabited or if it's something else. She paused, studying the reactions of her crew. We're going to find out, Doctor. Rajan, the ship's lead scientist, adjusted the scanner on his wrist. The energy readings are low, almost dormant, but there is an unusual pattern repeating inside. Whatever is in there, it's active and it's aware we're here. His voice betrayed a mix of excitement and caution. His curiosity was a dangerous thing, Alina knew, but it often led to discoveries that saved lives. Leela, the engineer, floated past the observation window, her gloved hands tracing imaginary lines on the glass. It doesn't match any engineering design I know. If this is a ship, it's not built by any species we've cataloged. The tilt, it's like it's testing us, seeing if we notice. Her words hung in the air, almost playful, yet tinged with unease. The rookie pilot, Kai, shifted nervously. He had been on a few missions, but nothing like this. Should we even go inside? We don't know what we're dealing with. His voice was small compared to the metallic hum of the Odyssey, but it echoed in the observation bay, making the silence feel heavier. Alina turned to him, her gaze steady. Exploration is why we're here, Kai, but caution is as important as courage. We don't rush in blind, we prepare and we observe. That's how we survive. The decision was made. The Odyssey's docking bay opened with a quiet hiss, revealing the narrow passage toward the vessel. A small team in EVA suits, tethered and moving cautiously, made their way into the void. Outside, the stars shimmered coldly, indifferent to the humans and the strange vessel that loomed before them. Inside the airlock, Alina's heart beat steadily, her mind a mixture of strategy and anticipation. Each step forward was a step into the unknown. As the crew entered the vessel, the first impression was silence. It was not the silence of empty space, nor the silence of a lifeless object. It was a deliberate silence, weighted and expectant, as though the ship itself was holding its breath. The walls glowed faintly with patterns that shifted when the humans moved closer, casting elongated shadows that seemed to mimic their forms. Every tilt and sway of the vessel felt purposeful, as if it was learning, adjusting to their presence. Doctor. Rajan was the first to speak, his voice cutting softly through the quiet. The interior, it's not just advanced, it's adaptive. The materials are changing shape, responding to our movement. He reached out to touch a wall, and it rippled beneath his gloved hand like liquid metal frozen in motion. He stepped back quickly, a mix of awe and caution in his eyes. Leela moved beside him, examining the conduits and panels along the walls. These are energy channels, but not like ours. They're alive in a way, carrying currents that adjust themselves. If I could interface with this, even partially, we could understand what drives this vessel. She glanced at Alina, seeking permission without words. Alina nodded. Kai followed, his movements careful. Each step seemed to produce a faint echo inside the hull, though he could not see the source. It's watching us, he whispered. I can feel it. The words made Dr. Rajan pause. Feeling it isn't scientific, he said, but his own fingers hovered over his instruments, hesitant to confirm or deny the sensation. They reached the central chamber, a vast open space with no ceiling visible, the walls curving upwards into shadows. The floor beneath them tilted slightly as they stepped in, and Alina noticed her team adjusting instinctively to maintain balance. It's acknowledging us, she said softly, almost to herself. The idea was absurd, yet the tilt was undeniable. The vessel reacted again, more pronounced this time. A rhythmic hum filled the air, low and resonant, vibrating through their suits. The patterns on the walls shifted in response, forming shapes that suggested constellations, some familiar, some alien. Doctor. Rajan leaned close to the projection, his voice barely audible. It's showing us something, maybe a warning or a message. We need to document this. They moved cautiously forward, each step a negotiation with the vessel. It tilted again, not violently, but with a sense of purpose, as if testing the weight of humanity, measuring their intent. Alina felt a strange kinship in that tilt, an acknowledgement that they were intruders, yet worthy of observation. Suddenly, a panel slid open in the wall, revealing a sphere of energy floating in midair. The sphere pulsed gently, sending waves of light across the chamber. Lilo extended her hand, and the sphere responded, brightening and shifting as though it recognized the human touch. "It's interacting," she breathed. "We can communicate, maybe, carefully." The team stared in awe, each aware that they were witnessing a living technology, something beyond anything human engineers had ever conceived. Kai stepped forward and the vessel tilted sharply beneath him. He stumbled, catching himself on the glowing wall. "It doesn't like surprises," he said, voice trembling. Alina moved to his side, steadying him. "It's learning," she corrected gently. "We have to move carefully, predictably, show respect, not fear." Dr. Rajan's instruments beeped rapidly. Energy readings were spiking, but in no predictable pattern. "The vessel is alive but not hostile yet. It's probing us, evaluating. This is unlike anything humanity has encountered. We are guests and the host is cautious." He looked at Alina with wide eyes. "We need to decide our next step wisely. One mistake could make it defensive." Alina surveyed the chamber, watching the patterns on the walls and the subtle tilts beneath their feet. "We explore," she said finally, "but with purpose. Observe, learn, and document everything. If this vessel wants to test humanity, we will show it we are capable, not reckless." The crew moved deeper into the chamber. Every footstep seemed to ripple through the vessel, the lights pulsing in rhythm with their movements. A low vibration hummed through their suits, almost musical, almost language. They shared glances, understanding without words that they were not just exploring a ship, they were interacting with a sentient being. Hours passed in careful study. Dr. Rajan recorded patterns and energy flows. Leela attempted minor interfacing with panels, and Kai observed how the vessel reacted to weight and motion. Alina coordinated, making sure the team moved in unison, minimizing mistakes. Every tilt, every pulse of light seemed to respond to their cohesion, their teamwork. Finally, they reached a chamber larger than any other, the floor tilting gently under their collective presence. At its center floated a massive holographic projection. It was humanoid but not human, made of light and shifting geometry. Its eyes, if they could be called that, regarded the humans with curiosity, and it gestured in ways that suggested communication without sound. The vessel itself seemed to have projected this being, a sentinel or guide, perhaps its conscience. Dr. Rajan stepped closer, cautious. "It's trying to tell us something," he said. "Not words, but ideas." A warning, maybe, or a request. Leela reached out tentatively, and the hologram pulsed gently in response. The vessel tilted again, subtly, almost approvingly. The humans had earned its attention. Alina took a deep breath. "We stay focused," she said, voice steady. "This is bigger than any discovery we've made. The vessel is alive, it's testing us. We need to learn why." She glanced at her team, each lost in awe and careful calculation. "Humanity has a choice here, to be reckless or to rise to the challenge. We will rise." Outside, the asteroid field glimmered under distant starlight. Inside the vessel, the humans moved cautiously, every tilt and pulse teaching them lessons they had never imagined. The vessel had stepped into their lives, and they had stepped into its consciousness. The story of humanity's resilience, ingenuity, and courage was about to begin. And somewhere deep within the hull, the vessel tilted once more, almost imperceptibly, as if acknowledging the start of a partnership. The humans had barely taken their first steps into the vessel's vast central chamber before it began to respond to their presence in ways that defied comprehension. The walls rippled gently, shifting patterns that seemed like constellations rearranging themselves. The subtle tilts beneath their feet had become almost rhythmic, like a heartbeat, guiding them forward, probing their intentions. Commander Alina Shaw moved cautiously, eyes scanning every curve and shadow, while the rest of the crew followed, sensing both awe and unease. Dr. Rajan's scanner beeped erratically. "These readings are incredible," he whispered. "The energy flows are unlike anything we've studied. It's not just advanced. This technology seems alive, adaptive. It changes when we interact with it." He reached out to touch one of the glowing panels, and the surface shifted, forming a diagram that resembled a map of stars, some familiar, some entirely alien. He stepped back quickly, feeling the vessel's subtle tilt as if it were testing his touch. "It's watching," he added, his voice barely audible. Leela knelt beside a conduit that snaked across the floor, adjusting its minor energy flows with careful precision. "These are not just power lines," she said, tracing the channels with her gloved hand. "They react to our presence, to our movements. If I can connect to them safely, I might be able to interface with the ship's core functions." Her eyes sparkled with the thrill of discovery, but she did not ignore the weight of responsibility that hung in the air. Every ripple of light, every tilt, seemed to indicate that the vessel was conscious of their intentions. Kai, the rookie pilot, followed behind, moving cautiously. Each footstep made the vessel tilt slightly, as though it measured their weight and balance, assessing their capabilities. He shivered at the sensation, unsure whether it was fear or excitement. "It's like walking on a living being," he muttered. "It reacts to us, tests us, almost like it wants to see what we're capable of." Elena heard the words and nodded slowly. "Exactly," she said. "That is why we observe. That is why we move carefully. The vessel is alive in its own way. We have to show it that humans are worthy." The team reached a larger chamber where the walls were covered with flowing symbols that resembled an alien script. The room pulsed faintly with energy illuminating parts of the floor that tilted gently under their weight. A sphere floated in the center, spinning slowly, radiating faint light that shifted in rhythm with their movement. It was mesmerizing and intimidating at the same time. Dr. Rajan reached out with gloved hands, scanning it. "The sphere, it seems to store information, maybe even consciousness," he murmured. "It reacts when we move closer. It's alive." Elena studied the sphere, sensing the subtle changes in the tilt beneath their feet. "Careful," she said. "We need to learn from it, not provoke it." She watched as the sphere brightened and pulsed in response to Leela's tentative touch. The vessel seemed to tilt in unison, almost approving the careful interaction. It was as if the ship itself understood their caution and rewarded it. Hours passed as the humans explored, documenting patterns, energy flows, and the vessel's reactions. Dr. Rajan analyzed the shifting panels, discovering that they could encode data in a way that humans could comprehend with time and patience. Leela interfaced with the ship's minor systems, rerouting energy through controlled channels to illuminate deeper corridors and examine hidden structures. Kai observed how the vessel reacted to weight distribution, noting that even minor adjustments influenced the ship's responses. Elena led the team with strategic precision. She noticed that the vessel's tilts often corresponded with the crew's coordination. When they moved together carefully, the tilts became smooth, almost guiding them forward. When a single person acted hastily, the tilt became abrupt, almost warning them to reconsider. "It's teaching us," she said quietly, "not with words but through movement and energy. We have to understand it to survive here." Eventually, they reached a chamber unlike any other. The walls rose higher than the eye could see, curving into shadows that seemed endless. At the center floated a holographic projection of an alien figure. It was humanoid in shape, but made entirely of shifting light and geometric patterns. Its eyes, if they could be called that, focused on the humans, and its posture suggested observation and communication. The vessel itself seemed to project this figure as though it were the voice of the ship. Dr. Rajan stepped closer, scanning the figure. "It's trying to communicate," he whispered, "not in words but in ideas, concepts. We have to interpret it." Leela reached out, and the figure pulsed in response, shimmering and forming shapes that resembled constellations, rotating in a pattern that suggested urgency. "It's giving us information," she said. "But we don't know if it's a warning or instructions or something else entirely." Elena nodded, studying the projection and the subtle tilts beneath their feet. "It's showing us something important," she said. "We need to pay attention to every detail, the movement, the light, the reactions. This vessel is alive and it wants us to understand. We need to be ready for whatever it's preparing us for." Hours turned into a day as the humans delved deeper into the vessel's mysteries. They discovered corridors that adapted to their presence, opening and closing in response to movement and balance. Some corridors were almost like puzzles, requiring them to step in specific sequences to proceed. The vessel seemed to test not only their intelligence but also their teamwork. When the humans worked together, paths opened smoothly. When a single crew member acted without coordination, the corridor tilted sharply, forcing them to retreat and reconsider. At one point, the vessel tilted more sharply than ever, sending a ripple through the floor that made the team stumble. A panel opened to reveal a series of floating orbs, each containing holographic images of distant galaxies, star systems, and even Earth itself. Dr. Rajan stared, his mind racing. "It's been observing us," he whispered. "This isn't random data. It's a record of humanity, our solar system, maybe even our development as a species. The vessel has been studying life, and now it's testing how we interact with it." Kai moved cautiously among the orbs, his reflection distorted in the shifting lights. "It's like it's asking us if we're ready," he said. "If we can handle knowledge it has stored for who knows how long." Leela's eyes widened. "If it trusts us enough to share this, then we are being recognized as intelligent, capable beings. We can learn from it if we're careful." Alina's gaze swept the chamber. "We are not just exploring a ship, we are interacting with a conscious entity. This is an opportunity for humanity to show its ingenuity, courage, and respect for the unknown. Every action matters." She turned to her team. "We continue but cautiously. Observe, document, learn, do not rush. The vessel is guiding us. It wants us to rise to the challenge." The vessel tilted again, gently, almost as if nodding. The team understood instinctively that they were earning its trust, but it was a fragile trust, easily broken by haste or recklessness. They moved as a unit, step by step, allowing the patterns of energy and light to guide them. Each tilt became a lesson, teaching them balance, patience, and careful observation. By the end of their second day inside the vessel, the humans had mapped significant sections of its interior, deciphered some of the adaptive technology, and gained a tentative understanding of the vessel's intelligence. They knew that it was more than a machine. It was a sentient construct, a living archive, and perhaps even a guardian. And as they rested in a chamber with panels softly glowing around them, the vessel tilted gently, a subtle gesture that seemed almost like approval. Alina observed the team, each member exhausted but exhilarated. "This is only the beginning," she said quietly. "The vessel has shown us that humanity is capable of understanding, of adapting, and of learning from what is greater than ourselves. The question now is, what does it want us to do with this knowledge?" Dr. Rajan looked up at the glowing patterns. "If the vessel has been observing life, then it may have a purpose we don't yet comprehend. Perhaps it has chosen us to act, to respond, to continue a mission it cannot complete alone." His voice was awed but serious. "We are not just explorers. We are participants in something vast, something cosmic." Kai shivered, glancing at the floating holographic orbs. "It's intimidating," he admitted, "but also incredible. I've never seen anything like this in my life. We're part of it now." Leela nodded, her fingers tracing one of the glowing panels. "And we have to be careful. One mistake and the trust we've earned could vanish." Alina moved to the center of the chamber, feeling the slight tilts under her feet, and looked around at her crew. "Humanity has faced the unknown before, and we have survived through ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. This is no different. We learn, we adapt, we respond. That is what makes us human. That is why we have a chance here." And as the humans settled for the night, the vessel tilted gently one final time for the day, its subtle movements like a promise that it would guide them further, if they proved themselves worthy of the knowledge it held. Somewhere deep within its hull, the living machine watched, waiting and teaching the humans that curiosity and careful action were as vital as strength and courage. The journey inside the vessel had begun. And humanity had already started to rise to the challenge. The vessel had revealed more than just its interior. It had begun to reveal purpose. The holographic figure, its shape shimmering with flowing geometry, moved as if showing the humans something beyond the stars. The humans watched in silent awe as the figure pointed toward a distant point in the asteroid field. The patterns on the walls shifted, forming intricate designs that resembled a storm of energy moving through space. The vessel tilted beneath their feet, almost urging them to understand. Dr. Rajan's eyes widened as he processed the projections. "It's not just a ship," he said, his voice trembling. "It's a defense system. Something massive, something dangerous is approaching. The vessel was created to stop it, but it needs us to operate fully." His words made the crew stiffen. They had come seeking exploration, knowledge, and perhaps fame, but this was beyond any mission they had imagined. Humanity was suddenly being asked to fight alongside a sentient alien construct. Alina stepped closer to the hologram, examining the projections. "We don't know what we're up against," she said, her voice steady. "But whatever it is, we have to prepare. This vessel, it trusts us to act." The subtle tilt beneath her feet seemed to agree, a quiet affirmation that humans could rise to the challenge if they worked together. Leela floated to one of the control panels, her fingers moving quickly over alien symbols. She had begun to understand the ship's adaptive technology, how energy flowed and how systems could be activated with precise patterns. "We can modify some of its defensive systems," she said. "I can synchronize our movements with its energy cores. But it will take time and precision." She glanced at Kai, who nodded in understanding. They had both learned that even small mistakes could disrupt the ship's trust. Kai studied the vessel's tilts and reactions carefully. He had become attuned to its subtle movements, able to anticipate its shifts and guide energy conduits accordingly. "It responds to intention," he said quietly. "We can't just control it blindly. We have to be in sync like a team with it, like a partner." Alina nodded. The lesson was clear. The vessel was not a tool to wield. It was a living entity, and the humans needed to earn its cooperation. Hours passed as they worked to understand the ship's systems. Leela managed to synchronize minor weapons arrays with the vessel's energy flows. Dr. Rajan deciphered additional holographic data, learning that the approaching threat was a swarm of self-replicating machines, drifting through space like a storm of metal and fire. These machines consumed energy, growing in number with terrifying speed. They were relentless, adaptive, and seemingly unstoppable, except perhaps by this vessel if humans could coordinate with it properly. Alina studied the projections and the tilting floor. "This is bigger than any mission we've ever faced," she said, "but we are not powerless. Humanity has faced overwhelming odds before, and we survived through courage, ingenuity, and teamwork. This is our chance to prove it again." She looked at each member of her crew, seeing determination in their eyes. "We will fight, and we will learn. The vessel has given us a role, and we will rise to it." The team prepared for what was coming. They practiced synchronizing movements with the vessel's tilts, guiding energy through the channels, and operating adaptive systems without triggering defensive responses. Each small success was met with a subtle tilt of approval, a gentle hum of energy, a pulse of light that seemed almost like encouragement. Humanity was learning to work with something far beyond comprehension, and the vessel was teaching them every step of the way. Finally, the swarm appeared on the vessel's sensors. At first, it looked like a distant cloud of energy, moving faster than any natural object should. But as it drew closer, the humans saw the sharp glint of metal and the flashes of energy as the machines consumed asteroids, multiplying with terrifying speed. Dr. Rajan's voice trembled as he spoke. "It's enormous. And it's coming directly for the asteroid field for us." Alina's heart pounded, but her voice remained calm. "Then we fight. This is what we've prepared for. Move with the vessel. We are its partners." The vessel tilted sharply, almost as if it were bracing for the battle. Leela and Kai worked quickly, adjusting energy flows and weapon arrays, while Dr. Rajan monitored the swarm's patterns, predicting their next moves. Every tilt of the floor, every ripple in the walls was a signal, an instruction in a language without words. The humans had learned to interpret it, and now their lives depended on it. The first wave of the swarm entered the asteroid field. Machines collided with floating rocks, consuming them, multiplying and forming larger, more organized formations. The vessel responded, releasing energy pulses that fragmented incoming machines, sending shards spinning harmlessly into space. Leela's hands moved rapidly, synchronizing with the vessel's flows, while Kai guided the energy conduits with the precision of a master pilot. The humans were now extensions of the ship, their actions intertwined with its own. Dr. Rajan shouted as a massive cluster of machines veered toward them unexpectedly. "Alina, shift the energy arrays." "Divert power to the left quadrant," Alina signaled Leela, who adjusted the conduits. The vessel tilted sharply, responding to the new commands. Machines that seemed unstoppable moments ago were disintegrated, their energy absorbed by the ship. Humanity's ingenuity had turned the tide, but the battle was far from over. Hours stretched into tense minutes. The swarm adapted with frightening intelligence, changing patterns and overwhelming energy defenses. The vessel tilted violently as the humans coordinated strategies, dodging attacks and striking with precision. Every mistake risked disaster. Kai narrowly avoided being hit by a fragment of a machine, adjusting the tilt beneath him just in time to remain balanced. Leela redirected energy to reinforce a vulnerable section of the vessel, and Dr. Rajan calculated the next wave of attacks. Alina directed the team, keeping them focused, calm, and coordinated. In the midst of battle, the humans realized something extraordinary. The vessel was not only responding to them, it was learning from them. Their strategies influenced its own systems, adapting faster than it ever had. It was as if the vessel recognized human ingenuity and incorporated it, enhancing its defensive and offensive capabilities. The humans were not just fighting with the ship, they were teaching it, and it was teaching them in return. The battle reached its climax when the largest wave of the swarm struck. Machines surged like a tidal wave, energy flashing across the asteroid field. The vessel tilted sharply, sending the humans sliding across the floor, testing their coordination to the limit. Alina signaled her team, and in perfect synchrony, they moved as one. Leela redirected the energy cores, Kai balanced the conduits, Doctor. Rajan calculated the swarm's vulnerabilities, and Alina commanded with unwavering focus. The vessel responded, its systems firing in harmony with human decision-making. A final, massive pulse of energy erupted from the vessel, striking the heart of the swarm. Machines shattered, fragments spinning into the void, their replication disrupted. The vessel tilted gently, almost as if sighing in relief. The humans floated in exhausted silence, realizing they had survived what seemed impossible. Humanity had stood alongside an alien intelligence, adapted to a cosmic threat, and emerged victorious, not by brute force, but through ingenuity, teamwork, and courage. As the asteroid field quieted, the vessel projected a new hologram. The alien figure shimmered and shifted, forming patterns that resembled Earth and the humans themselves. Dr. Rajan interpreted the shapes. "It's thanking us," he said. "In its own way, it's acknowledging what we've done. We were worthy." Leela smiled, exhausted but exhilarated. "We didn't just survive, we contributed, we became part of something greater." Alina looked at her team, each member breathing heavily, eyes shining with the thrill of victory. "Humanity has faced the unknown before," she said. "We've adapted, learned, and overcome. Today, we proved that even against a threat beyond comprehension, we can rise to the challenge." She turned to the vessel, feeling the subtle tilts beneath her feet. "And we've shown it that humans are worthy partners, capable of ingenuity, courage, and resilience." The vessel tilted once more, gently, almost as if bowing. It had been a teacher, a guide, and now a comrade. Humanity had not only survived, they had forged a bond with something far greater than themselves. The swarm was gone, defeated by the combination of alien technology and human brilliance. The asteroid field was quiet again, save for the soft hum of the vessel, vibrating through the hull and through the hearts of those who had fought alongside it. Alina allowed herself a small smile. "This is not the end," she said softly. "The vessel has shared its knowledge and we have earned its trust. But the universe is vast, and there will always be challenges that test humanity's ingenuity and courage." She looked at her crew, seeing the same determination reflected in their faces. "We will rise to meet them. That is what makes us human, Doctor." Rajan floated closer to a panel, studying the vessel's energy flows. "We've learned so much," he said. "And yet, it feels like there is more. The vessel has only revealed part of its purpose. There is still knowledge it holds, still lessons it wants to teach us." "We are not finished here," Leela nodded, glancing at the holographic figure, now motionless but shimmering softly. "Then we continue," she said. "We learn, we adapt, we rise." Kai floated near the center, watching the tilts of the vessel beneath them. "I never thought I'd be part of something like this," he said quietly. "Fighting with a living ship against a threat that could have destroyed us, it's more than I imagined. But I know one thing, we are ready for whatever comes next." Alina placed a hand on his shoulder, feeling the subtle vibration of the floor beneath them. "We will be ready," she said, "because we are human, and that is enough." The vessel tilted once more, softly, almost imperceptibly, as if acknowledging the bond that had formed. Humanity had proven itself, not by brute force, not by fear or luck, but by ingenuity, courage, and the ability to work together. The cosmic threat had been defeated, but the journey was far from over. Somewhere in the infinite darkness of space, the vessel waited, ready to guide, to teach, and to challenge humanity again. And for the first time, the humans inside it understood. They were not alone. They had allies in the stars. They had proven that even against unknown, unimaginable threats, humanity could rise and thrive. The vessel had quieted after the battle. Its soft hum echoed through the chambers, pulsing gently as though breathing. The humans floated in the central hall, catching their breath, feeling the subtle tilts beneath their feet. It was not a violent sway anymore, but a calm, deliberate rhythm, almost comforting. Elena Shaw observed her team, each member exhausted but exhilarated, their eyes wide with awe. Humanity had survived the impossible, fought alongside a sentient vessel, and now they were part of something far greater than themselves. Doctor. Rajan approached a panel, his fingers tracing the flowing symbols. "The data we've collected, it's beyond anything we imagined," he said, voice trembling with excitement. "The vessel has shown us not just technology, but understanding, knowledge of the universe, of energy, of life itself. It's a library, a guide, and a weapon all in one." He looked up at Elena. "And it's taught us that humanity can rise to the occasion, even against forces we cannot yet comprehend." Leela floated closer to the vessel's core, her hands moving over energy conduits she had learned to manipulate with precision. "It's responding to us in ways we didn't expect," she said. "When we acted together, it adapted, learned from our choices. It treated us as partners, not tools. I've never seen technology, anything, react like this." She smiled, exhausted but proud. "It's like it's recognizing us, recognizing humanity." Kai drifted in the chamber, still adjusting to the quiet after the chaos. He touched one of the glowing panels gently, and it rippled under his hand. "It's alive," he said softly, "and it trusts us. I've never been part of anything like this. We weren't just surviving the swarm, we were guiding the ship, shaping the battle with it. We made a difference." Elena nodded, her gaze sweeping the chamber. "That is the essence of humanity," she said. "We face the unknown, adapt, learn, and overcome. We are capable of courage, ingenuity, and teamwork. The vessel has tested us, and we have risen to the challenge. That is what makes us human." She paused, looking at the subtle tilts beneath their feet. "And it has acknowledged that. We are partners, and now we understand that our potential is limitless if we work together." The vessel tilted slightly, almost imperceptibly, a gesture that the humans had learned to interpret as approval. It projected holographic patterns across the walls, showing distant galaxies, star systems, and cosmic phenomena. Some images were familiar, others were entirely alien. The humans moved slowly, absorbing the information, realizing that the vessel had been waiting for a species capable of understanding, capable of cooperation. Humanity had proven worthy. Doctor. Rajan floated to the holographic display, studying a cluster of stars with careful attention. "It's giving us a map," he said. "Not just of space, but of opportunities, resources, potential colonies, safe passages, energy sources. The vessel has been guiding life for eons, and now it sees humanity as capable of stewardship, capable of understanding the balance of the universe." His eyes shone with excitement. "We are not just explorers, we are participants in something cosmic." Leela traced one of the energy conduits, her hands moving with precision. "And it's showing us how to maintain and protect this knowledge," she said. "We can harness the vessel's energy flows, not to dominate, but to create, to preserve, to guide. This is a responsibility, not just a gift. The vessel trusts us to use what it teaches wisely." Kai looked at the subtle tilts beneath their feet, then at the glowing panels. "It's a partnership," he said. "It responds to our intentions, our coordination. It doesn't force its power on us. It lets us learn, adapt, and guide it. That's how it trusts us. We've become part of it, and it's become part of us." Elena moved to the center of the chamber, feeling the rhythm of the vessel beneath her. "We've learned a lot about it," she said, "but we've also learned about ourselves. Humanity has always faced challenges beyond comprehension, and we've survived. That is why we are here, why we endure. This vessel, it reflects what we are capable of when we act with intelligence, courage, and unity." She looked at her team. "And now we have a choice. How do we use what we've learned? How do we carry this knowledge forward?" Dr. Rajan pointed to the holographic map. "We can study it, explore new systems, and perhaps even prevent future threats. The vessel has already shown us the swarm, but there may be other dangers. With its knowledge and our ingenuity, we can be proactive, not reactive." Leela nodded. and we can use its systems to help humanity grow, new energy sources, safer navigation through space, protection of colonies, guidance for exploration. The vessel is alive, yes, but it is also a teacher. We must respect it, learn from it, and act wisely. Kai floated to Alina, his face determined. We can't just go back and forget this. We've seen what's out there. We've fought alongside a sentient ship and survived. We have to continue to take what we've learned and apply it. Humanity can rise to any challenge if we work together. Alina's gaze swept the chamber, resting on each member of her crew. We've faced fear, uncertainty, and cosmic danger, and we've proven ourselves. But the journey doesn't end here. We take this experience, this knowledge, and we return stronger. Humanity is capable of greatness, and we have just scratched the surface. The vessel tilted one final time, softly, deliberately. The humans had learned to read its subtle movements as a form of communication, a gesture of acknowledgement and trust. It was giving them permission to leave, to carry its teachings into the wider universe. Alina felt a profound respect for the ship. It was more than technology. It was alive, it was intelligent, and it had chosen humanity as a partner. As they prepared to leave the vessel, the crew worked together to record every piece of knowledge they could. Doctor. Rajan cataloged data streams, Leela stabilized energy flows, and Kai assisted with mapping the vessel's interior. Every action was careful, deliberate, and respectful. They had learned that hasty decisions could disrupt the balance, and they intended to honor the trust the vessel had placed in them. Alina watched as the team completed their preparations. She felt a sense of pride, not just for their accomplishments, but for what humanity had proven, that even in the face of the unknown, humans could rise, adapt, and cooperate with forces far beyond their comprehension. This is what it means to be human, she said softly. Courage, intelligence, ingenuity, and respect. We've shown it, and we've learned from it. The journey back to their ship was quiet but purposeful. The vessel's subtle tilts guided them, leading them safely through its corridors toward the airlock. Outside, the stars stretched infinitely, a reminder of the vast universe that awaited them. Alina felt a surge of determination. Humanity had been tested, had faced a cosmic threat, and had emerged victorious, not through brute force, but through intellect, cooperation, and courage. As they entered the Odyssey, the vessel's soft glow faded, but its presence lingered in their minds. They had been partners, allies, and students of something greater than themselves. Alina looked at her crew, their faces glowing with satisfaction and wonder. We've learned more than we ever imagined, she said, and we have a responsibility to carry this knowledge forward. To protect, to explore, to guide. Humanity has risen, and we will continue to rise. The vessel drifted silently behind them, its final tilt a gesture of farewell and encouragement. It had given them knowledge, trust, and the understanding that humans could stand as equals alongside something unimaginably advanced. The team looked back one last time, feeling a bond that transcended language and species. They had been tested, and they had passed. As the Odyssey moved through the asteroid field, the crew reflected on what they had achieved. Humanity had shown resilience, ingenuity, and courage, earning the respect of a sentient vessel that had observed the cosmos for millennia. They had learned that trust, teamwork, and intelligence were as vital as strength and firepower. They had become part of something larger, and in doing so, had discovered a glimpse of their true potential. Alina's eyes rested on the distant stars, each one a beacon of possibility. The universe is vast, she said quietly, and full of unknowns, but we are ready. Humanity has proven that it can face the unimaginable and rise. That is our destiny, and that is our strength. The crew shared a moment of quiet unity, understanding that this was more than just a mission. It was a turning point. They had faced the unknown, adapted, learned, and emerged stronger. Humanity had proven itself worthy, not just to the vessel, but to the universe itself. And somewhere deep within the drifting vessel, the subtle tilts continued, a quiet rhythm that echoed through the cosmos, a reminder of partnership, trust, and the boundless potential of humanity. The stars stretched endlessly, and humanity moved forward, ready for whatever challenges awaited them, carrying knowledge, courage, and the lesson that they could rise together to face anything. They watched the vessel tilt slightly, as if something stepped inside.